But before we get into all of those actions, let's start off where draws begins or held as Niger Delta Games begins today. Draw for teams event of the Niger Delta Games took place a couple of days yesterday at the Samuel Ogbomudiam Stadium. The organizers declares the event open. The draw held were 4 football, handball, volleyball, and volleyball events in the men's and women's category. However, the battle for the medals will begin on Friday with over 3,000 athletes. And officials are expected to be in the Samuel Ogbomudiam Stadium. The event will feature 17 sports, including a cultural night that will be sponsored by the Niger Delta Development Commission. Chairman of Dunamis Icons Limited, organizer of Niger Delta Games, Itako, urged the participants to adhere strictly to the rules of the games and display a high level of sportsmanship. He said the game starts with over 3,000 athletes and their officials already in camp, and they are ready to continue and battle for a podium finish. That is interesting to see that everything is on ground. Event officially began today as the draw ended yesterday, so we'll be looking at and getting you updates on what the medal tables will be looking like, because the event is set to end on the 26th of February. So moving on now, zonal qualifiers begins for cricket on the 17th. The Nigerian Cricket Federation has announced the commencement of zonal qualifiers across the 6 geopolitical zones for the 2026 National Under-17 Boys and Girls Championship, starting with Southwest and Southeast Zone on February the 18th. The qualifiers will run until March 1st, with the best players from all 36 states expected to represent their respective zones at the main tournament here in Abuja. Matches in the Southwest Zone are being held at the MKO Abiola Sporting Arena in Abeokuta until February the 21st, while the Southeast qualifiers are taking place at the Government College Owerri until February the 22nd. Attention will shift to the Northwest Zone from February 25th, with matches scheduled in Kaduna, while Adamawa will host State in the Northeast. Qualifying matches in the Southeast South Zone will be played in Edo State, while the North Central qualifiers will take place at the Twin Cricket Oval of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium Package B here in Abuja. The 2026 events will kickstart and also bring out lots of individuals, lots of professionals, elite athletes, and basically also it will bring together scouts that will be looking to help these talents in Nigeria advance their careers forward. Moving on away from that, this is coming from the desk of the National Sports Commission Chairman, says the 2026 World Cup chapter is closed. Diko gives updates on the case against DR Congo. This has been the conversation for a while now. We have been expecting the verdict from FIFA, but the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, has stated that Nigeria's 2026 World Cup fate is in the hands of FIFA. The Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, had submitted a protest to the World Football Governing Body, claiming that Democratic Republic of Congo used ineligible players in the African playoffs final. Diko, speaking to reporters after a meeting with the president last night on Thursday at the presidential villa, said the matter is still pending. Diko added that he was optimistic that the Super Eagles will be reinstated for the Intercontinental playoffs for the month of March. So this is like a relief, but we are going to get the final verdict and then a bit of relief, mostly when we get to hear from FIFA, because currently as it stands now, it's just hanging in the balance. We don't know if the Super Eagles of Nigeria would be going to play in the World Cup or not. But what we are very sure of is that they have friendly matches coming up. They'll be taking on Jordan in the month of March, and again we'll see how all of this will help them prepare and advance in their race. If they get an opportunity to play in the World Cup, then this preparation, this friendly match they are playing is very integral. It's very important for the squad to be able to build chemistry. We understand the squad of the Super Eagles of Nigeria has depth, and they have been playing very well for the longest. So we would expect to see that same trajectory continues. We've seen Nigerian players, what they do for their club side. Currently, we see Victor Osimhen in the UEFA Champions League providing 2 assists for his side, Galatasaray, as they defeated Juventus 5-2 just on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday, we saw 2 Nigerians, one playing for Atletico Madrid and the other playing for Club Brugge. Just talking about Ademola Lookman and Rafael Onyedika. These 2 individuals also were on the scoring sheet at the same night for their team. When we move away from the Champions League and talk about EPL and FA Cup and also Champions League, we're seeing Nigerian players in their specific clubs being the ones leading the pack and, you know, contributing properly. So the chemistry now between what we saw in the African Cup of Nations from the guys, the Super Eagles players, it shows that they have been able to build chemistry and they understand themselves more. And if they get to play again in this friendly match that will be coming up, so we'll be expecting to see more synergy within the guys, and hopefully the Super Eagles of Nigeria may luckily somehow find their way, probably through the back door, through the window, but just find their way in the playoffs that will be happening in March. If FIFA finish conducting their investigation, then at that point we'll have the verdict, and then Nigerians and the Super Eagles would know their fate, if they would be advancing to the World Cup or not. So moving away from that, let's talk Nigerian Professional Football League as Ahmed Musa returns for Kano Pillars versus Al Kelemi Warriors clash. This is interesting. Kano Pillars forward Ahmed Musa has rejoined the team ahead of their Nigerian Football League Premier League match. That's March the 27th feature against El Kelemi Warriors. Musa has been absent from the Sani Abacha Stadium for previous games due to family reasons. The veteran forward took part in the men's training section yesterday. Musa's return is a big motivation for Mohamed Babaguro's side as they continue their fight against relegation. He has registered 3 goals for Kano Pillars in the MPFL this season. Kano Pillars will lock horns with El Kelemi Warriors at the Sani Abacha Stadium later this weekend. Moving away from that, still talking MPFL, very interestingly, MPFL has sanctioned and fined United 9 million naira, banished them to Abeokuta. This is very interesting. Now you might be wondering, what did Kwara United do to receive this ban and also this fine? Let me bring you up to speed with what happened that led to all of this. The Nigerian Premier Football League, MPFL, has fined Kwara United 9 million naira for the crowd violence that erupted during their rescheduled match day 22 against Rivers United. Arena in Abeokuta, the club have 48 hours from the date of notice to appeal these sanctions. So this is it. The MPFL bodies are no longer smiling with teams that do not pay attention to rules and regulation. For the Nigerian Professional Football League to advance further and do well, it's when we get to see that all these rules and regulations are being taken very, very seriously. Because looking at this now, you did not provide enough security, and then that led to the injuries of officials and players of your that came visiting, which is totally unacceptable by the rules and regulation that has been set by the Nigerian Professional Football League body. So with this fine, 9 million naira, yes, I think it's good, but I think it would have been 10 because previously the other team, Remo Stars, that had Ikorodu City, that had the same challenge, they paid 10 million naira in fine, and also they were banished from their home team, their home court, home field rather, to go and play their remaining home matches away from home, which will require fans not coming in. So meaning they'll be playing in a empty stadium. But all of this, hopefully, this will help them learn. And if they don't get to appeal it, that means all of this punishment stands. But if they appeal with valid evidence of what happened, then providing adequate security and all, then there might be a lesser burden, there might be a lesser punishment for them. But looking at it now, if this does go through, they are not even in the top 5 of the MPFL currently as we speak. It's going to hamper their chances of advancing into the Presidential Federation Cup and also playing in the CAF or finishing in the top 5, given the fact that it's March day 27 already, is around the corner, and this will hamper what they are chasing as a team. So at the end of the day, from what the report says, 48 hours rather is what is the timeline that was given. So we'll see what would happen within the next 48 hours if Kwara United would appeal, or this punishment and this banishment, all of these fines will stand. Moving on now, away from that, WAFCON 2026 Super Falcons open camp in Yaoundé. That would be starting on February the 25th. The Super Falcons of Nigeria will open their camp in Yaoundé, Cameroon next week Wednesday, ahead of their double-header friendlies against the Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon. Head coach Justin Madagu unveiled a 25-man squad for the game last night. The players will fly directly to Yaoundé from their respective base. Nigeria and Cameroon will use the friendlies as part of their preparation for the 2026 Women's African Cup of All Nations. The Super Falcons are drawn in Group C with debutants Malawi, Zambia, and Egypt. Cameroon will face Cape Verde, Mali, and Ghana. The competition will run from March the 17th to April the 3rd, 2026. And then that is what we will be hoping and expecting to see, that the 10-time African champions would retain their championship. So this is interesting and very, very spectacular to see that the Super Falcons of Nigeria are set to carry on with the defense of their title that they won less than a year ago. But we will see how far and how well these individuals can go. But looking at the squad now, they are looking very, very good, and they are ready to defend their championship. We'll see if there will be a new man inclusion in what is already existed. But Justin made a comment that he's looking and scouting for other young and impressive female Nigerian footballers who are playing domestically and also internationally that he can introduce to the mix. So we will see how his skills in terms of talent discovery would be, and hopefully we'll see that these girls will make it all through and retain their WAFCON championship. So we'll be leaving that for now, and we'll come back to it a bit later. Quickly, let's look at some highlights in the world of basketball. As basketball came back in action early hours of this morning, we saw Boston Celtics taking on Golden State Warriors, and also we saw New York Knicks in action. We also saw Cleveland also in action. We are seeing is very interesting chemistry between James Harden and Tyson, which is very, very rare to see, but somehow the adaptation happened real fast, and Cleveland has been very good on their own before James Harden came into the mix. But we'll see how this will lead and how far they'll be able to get into, if they'll make it through to the playoffs. So let me bring you the first highlight between Boston Celtics and Golden State Warriors, and then we'll follow that suit with other highlights from New York Knicks and Cleveland.
Or you need a few guys to be caretakers of the pace.